So I want to introduce Whitney Mitchel. Whitney and I just reconnected a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month ago now. I mean, time flies, right? So we reconnected. We know each other from a work relationship where we're not going to name any names, we're not going to name any companies, but we really want to have this conversation because we really want to educate people on the importance of identifying signs of a narcissist. But Whitney and I worked with a narcissist. I have personally, I'm going to speak for myself. I've been in a relationship with a narcissist. I was married to a narcissist. And then after my marriage and we got divorced, I also then got into another relationship with a narcissist. So at some point you have to look at it. What am I doing to attract a narcissist? And we're going to talk about that. But Whitney and I share a common ground where, we both worked for this narcissist, and Whitney had a relationship with that narcissist. And out of all the narcissists that I've had relationships with, I think this one in particular, Whitney, I think you would agree, was like the top of the game of narcissists. So we must share what we learned, and that's really why we're having this conversation today. So thank you so much for being on this podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm very honored to join you on this because I feel like education is key to success. And like I said, we did experience the highest level of when it comes to dealing with narcissists.
Narcissists, I know it's a hard word to say.
Yeah.
Those motherfuckers ain't energy.
But once you experience that intense level of dealing with someone like that, it's like you just know it completely exactly what you're dealing with. So if you see it again, you can easily identify it. And like you said, I did deal with it relationship wise and business wise. So I got to see both ends of it dealt with me. Well, attacked towards me and towards everyone around me. I was able to see the comparison and the levels of it. And it was just in very, very high degrees. And it took me a while to know what exactly I was dealing with. Like I've never heard of the word narcissist before.
Me neither. I've never heard it either.
And what led me to finding out that term, I was like, wow, this is an actual thing. Like people are actually diagnosed with it. But how it started was I had my friends and family telling me, they're like, you're in a extreme controlling relationship. And you're also in a very verbal abusive relationship. And I was so defensive. I was like, no way. Like, he's not controlling me. He's not being abusive. Like, this isn't true. Like, this is a great guy. And they're like, no, like, this is what you're dealing with. And I would literally, like, on my own time, I would Google what are the signs of being in a controlling relationship? What are the signs of being in a verbal abusive relationship? And basically those definitions, like, combined it to be a narcissist. I'm tearing this word up. But so basically that definition of being that, was a sign of controlling and the verbal abuse that I was dealing with. And I had no idea this was actually a thing and people are actually diagnosed with it. And it's a serious, serious condition when someone performs on high degrees and levels of it.
Absolutely.
So, should I go ahead and get into the more signs of it?
Well, let's back up. Let's give everyone a definition of what a narcissist is. I'll give a definition of what I think it is. I mean, I looked it up in the dictionary because I was like, let's give a definition because we're using this big word and maybe people aren't sure what it is. But I'm going to give it the definition from my experience more so than what I read online. But I feel like, now that I've been with a few narcissists, that I feel like there's a level of self-importance that these narcissists have with an undercurrent of fear that is really identifiable early on that I had no idea. So if I was to give a definition right now on what a narcissist is, it's someone who, and it also can be female too. We're not bashing men here. I just want to make that claim. We love men. Men are amazing. We're giving our experience here and sharing what we've been through so that we can teach others and help others learn from, the experience we went through. But a narcissist, I find, is somebody who has extreme self-importance. And then there's this underlying fear. And, how the fear manifests is really putting others down. down all around them. They might not do it to you in the relationship at the beginning, but they do it to everybody else. So to me, that's really the definition of a narcissist, what I've experienced. Whitney, what would you give in terms of your definition of what a narcissist is?
I would say a big one for me was manipulation.
Say again.
For them to feel manipulation.
Okay.
Like you said, for them to feel empowered and entitled, they study the person they target, and they base it off of pretty much knowing them in depth, as in the horrible tragedies they've been through and their weaknesses, and just things in their past that they've been traumatized for, and things that hurt them, and kind of like built their character, and they just aim on these weaknesses and they flip it and use it against them in a very tricky way. So, manipulation, it takes a very aware person to realize what's going on. Because if you're not aware and your guards are too down, you're easily targeted and easily fooled, completely fooled.
And you don't see it in the beginning. They don't use that tactic though in the beginning. They don't use that manipulation tactic in the beginning because they're getting to know you, right? That's any narcissist, business relationship, personal relationship. What in the beginning though, let's talk about women that are in relationship with narcissists, what's an early sign? Like what's something that they, because in the beginning everything's great, it's amazing. So, but what did you notice early on before the manipulation and turning things around on you and making you feel like the gaslighting and all the things that happen? What were the things in the beginning that you can share now that you notice that you want to share with others so they can be aware? Even
in the business side and the relationship side, it was like literally a fairy tale, something on a movie. It was just happening so quickly, and everything just seemed so perfect. And it was just like, it was basically, I love you at hello. This person was like in love with me. They loved everything about me. And they claimed they knew everything about me at hello. They just had me instantly figured out. And I'm the person they want to spend the rest of their life with. Like, it was just like something in a fairy tale. Like, it was like Prince Charming, literally. And I'm like, and of course, this is like too good to be true. But of course, you want to believe it's true. And they love hard, very, very hard. They build you up, telling you you're the best person in the world they ever met. And they just build up this extreme confidence and this extreme happiness in you, like at hello, to get you to just fall for them back. They make sure they have you like deep in. They literally stick their claws into you when it comes to loving hard in the very beginning.
Do you think that narcissists look for women like us, maybe, where we're so passionate and we want to get in a relationship, and maybe there's something missing in us that they can sense, that they put their claws into us, or that they know to get in relationships with us? Do you think they profile women like us and look for women like us?
Yes, I do believe that, because when I met this narcissist, I was in a situation that I was for someone to love me completely, no matter my past or who I was. And I also was desperate for just having someone to trust. And he knew that. I just really, really needed someone. I needed like a real relationship, like a deep, I wanted that relationship in a fairy tale. And he knew that. I had everything else in life. And I just wanted that like deep fairy tale connection. And I just needed someone to trust and just love me back, everything. And he just took advantage of that. Exactly. And he gave me, in the beginning, that's what I got. Yeah. In the beginning.
In the beginning, absolutely.
Well, that's what he had me pass.
And
yeah.
that's the point there that I want to identify. So, you've pinpointed really, not all narcissists are, if you have a fairy tale beginning and someone falls in love with you in the beginning, that doesn't mean necessarily that it's a narcissist, but it's something to be aware of. They're not really getting to know you and respecting certain boundaries and taking their time, because it does take a while to get to know somebody. So it's just a flag that, you need to watch, maybe set some early boundaries and learn the person before you jump right in, because what's the rush? There's no rush. If it really is meant to be, it will be. So I love that. That's an excellent point. And then I love what you just said, because that's key. And we want to share information that people can really grab a hold of is, what you said in terms of like us, why do we attract a narcissist? Because I'm very big about, self-improvement and, mastery. So how do I become a better human being and not go through this experience again? Not that negativity is a bad thing. Contrast is actually great because you learn more about yourself and how to evolve. So, but, don't try to fill a hole that you have inside with a man, fill it with love, with God, with, your work, whatever it is. You and I, so we came from situations where we really wanted to be loved. So love yourself first before you jump in and grab that love from a man. So that's something that we want to share with women as well. But so now we get into these relationships with narcissists, and so for me, it was about 5 months before I started to notice that, oh shit, this man's really trying to control me. What about you? Tell me about how long was the honeymoon phase before the tactics of the narcissist started to come into play?
It started really slowly. I got a major red flag, and then everything went cool again. And then, of course, there was justification in that. I'll say, for example, I told him I was going to celebrate a birthday with some friends, and we're going to go to the club after. And then when I'm getting dressed, he called. I was like, what are you doing? Like, to the party I told you about. He's like, what? He's like, a woman that's in a relationship doesn't go out partying and drinking. I'm like, it's a birthday party. It's all girls. Like, how bad can it be? And literally I had to cancel. It got so bad, he made me cancel my friends. And we've been planning this for weeks. And he knew the entire time where I was going until the day of. And it was that was a huge red flag because my mother witnessed it. And she said, this guy's controlling you. And I was like, no, he's saying it's for my safety and it doesn't look good. He manipulated me thinking that a woman that's in a relationship doesn't go out at nighttime without her man. And it was a pause after that. And then those same red flags of controlling just came up over and over and over again. So, and I just, like I said, he was good at manipulation. So he justified every flag. So in my mind, I'm saying this isn't right, but he comes back and says, this is why it's right. I know you don't understand it, but trust me, I have your best interest. I love you, and I would never do anything to hurt you. I'm doing this because I love you. So that's where the manipulation came in more of him justifying the red flags, that I should have been strong enough to stick to my initial gut that they are red flags and I need to get out of this.
Right. They're really good at transferring the guilt on us. I think that's it too, because all of a sudden, he's justifying, right, why he's not letting you go out, and it's for your safety, and then he's putting it on you, like, I care about you, and using that guilt that they use on us. And that's very interesting but in your core something's wrong. Like, at this point, that even though people are whispering and telling you he's controlling, this red flag is serious, because
so you shouldn't talk to them. Like, he was just, and I realized, I was like, he made it seem like justifying it. You need to cut these people off because they're not real good people for you. And he was the only good person that was in my life and that I should have in my life. So it was a lot of, and it went down to a lot of isolation that was going on. And I realized the isolation that he was creating was so he could have more control, because he knew those people did have my best interest and they were looking out for me and they were helping to open my eyes. And he was threatened by that. So to keep more control, he pushed isolation a lot. Thank goodness I was able to rekindle once everything was over. But at that time, I lost all my close friends, and even my family, we got distance because he wouldn't let me talk to them about our problems that we were having. So, and that's all we had were problems. So I couldn't really, what is there to talk to my family about, Yeah. So it happened. He conquered for a period of time long enough. It was a year and a half that all this went went on.
Some people are in these relationships for a really long time because your wings get clipped and you feel insecure, you don't feel good about yourself, you've lost friendships and, you know, family ties, and you feel isolated, so you kind of rely on them even though they're the abuser, which is like kind of like a strange, sick relationship. So he's manipulating you in this relationship, which they're masters of manipulation, and learning about your insecurities. Talk about, you know, this is a big one for me, because I'm just gonna, before I ask you the question, just a quick thing about me is my family. I believe in telling your truth, so always tell on yourself, and not this is telling on myself, but this is something that I've carried through my 40 years of life. Is my family, is my mom and my sister are mentally ill, so a lot of men have used that against me. As you know, I get crazy in a fight or something, they're like, oh, you're just like your mom, or they call me mentally ill. And my ex-husband did that a lot to me, I know, which is terrible. When I had my son, we had some health problems with him, and he had said to me, I would have never had a child with you if I had known the history of mental illness, and was basically calling our son mentally ill. So these are the types of things that they do to you to make you just really feel like, I felt really bad about myself, and, you know, not really realizing like mental illness is a disease, you know, there should be compassion towards that. So, you know, I started to like, wait, this is wrong. This doesn't feel right. You should be, you know, you should be loving me through this. And I'm not mentally ill. You know, I'm a great freaking person. So, and if I was, then maybe you should help me get help. You know what I mean? So this whole manipulation of learning what the scars are of the past and what you carried forward, they turn around and they use against you to keep you playing small, because you don't want to expose those truths necessarily. So what were some of the things, because I just exposed mine, what's some of the things that he learned about you, you don't have to say the private stuff, but he learned about you that he used to keep you in your place? Just, I think this would be a good example, because people don't realize that it's being done to them when you're in the midst of that type of relationship.
Yes, it is a lot of vulnerable things, weaknesses they do use against you that you normally, that you tell them about, but you don't even tell a normal person about. And one for me was, he told me he normally dates women that are virgins and very close to being one, or pretty much virgins. And he really threw in my face a lot how I wasn't. And he would say to me a lot, he would say, you're lucky that I'm with you and that I love you. Like, you're normally not my type. Like, I wouldn't even look twice at you, like, knowing your past, but I love you despite it. And he would even say, he's like, if we ever break up, no other man's going to want you and love you the way I do.
Exactly.
And he would say it so much. Like, of course, I'm like, yeah, right, whatever. And he would say it so much, I eventually started to believe it. So it made me compromise and deal with his crap, because I felt like he was the only person that was going to love me and want to be with me, because that's what he had me believing.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are
guys that want to get married on unmarried virgins. So.
Okay. So I think another important piece of a narcissist is also talking about this like false projection of image that they have, because I find that, you know, both my cases, the men portrayed this image of themselves, this big image, like successful, running their businesses. The one guy was a fake rapper, you know, like they made you believe like, wow, they really got their shit together, they're doing great things, and you sort of follow along in this false image that they're putting out there. You realize as, you know, things start to fall down and the way they treat other people that they're not what they say that they are. So, you know, you learn by their actions that they're not what they say that they are to you. And I know I'm going to go switch to the work side of things. So you and I worked with the same narcissist. And, you know, the things he told me, I'll speak for myself, the things he told me, the things he promised me, the way he talked about other people, I mean, it you know, you believe them. They're great salespeople. They're wonderful at convincing you, but they're lying to every single person. And they also keep us away from each other. Like, you and I didn't spend a lot of time together. He kept us very far apart, and same with me and some other people as well. So I just find like they have this big image of themselves, and they keep everyone in like a silo so that people don't talk to bring down the image of themselves. That was my experience with, yeah. I want you to talk about that, because I think that once we notice that someone's not what they say they are, you need to run. You really do need to run, because it's a scary thing, because they're putting on a show, and behind the show is a lot of shit. And that's the case with this man right now. So talk a little bit about that, about the false image that you noticed from a business standpoint.
Yes, like you were saying, on a business standpoint, it was also a lot of isolation going on. The people I was working with I only got to speak through during song, and I barely saw them in person. And it was to the point, like, if a person did get too personal with me through text or phone call, I was told to report that. So, and he would have me tell them what he didn't want, any type of personal or too closeness he didn't like or allow. And he made sure to tell me that, to put in my mind not to trust them, so I wouldn't get personal with them on other notes.
Right.
So everything stayed very, very isolated. And also, like you said, the false imaging, they can be, I guess I say it's more of an impression thing.
Yeah. Because
to each person in their circle, they want to have a certain image towards, right, because certain people expect certain things out of them, and they want to keep up that image. So they'll tell one person, oh, I'm doing this, doing that, and another person, they'll exaggerate it and add more things to it. It's not even true. So they're just big on just making things look more than what it is to impress certain people. And then, because they know if everyone's close together, we start talking, none of our stories are going to be the same. Like, it was one incident, I won't say things, but this person the narcissist told me like a year ago, oh, I sat down and had lunch with this person, and we did a big deal, went through, and all their family is on board. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Wow, that's really great. Wow, you're like, this is really impressive. Like, this is like a big thing. Like, wow, this is great. But he says this is a non-disclosure. Like, you can't say anything. And then, was it 6-8 months later, another person in the partner that's separated from me says, oh, let's reach out to this person and tell them about our brand. I'm like, what? Apparently there's already been a deal done a long time ago. What do you mean tell them about the brand? Like, it's just like they just take different stories to impress and to show these images that aren't even true. And it's just to make themselves feel more empowered and look more entitled and more than what they really are. And sadly, they express it to how they want to be in their minds, which they're not.
Right.
And just be who you are, and if you are who you are, there's no need to isolate people around you. No. They can all come together and we can all be open, because there's nothing to hide. But when there's things to hide, they do an isolation thing to keep control. Yeah. That's how I see it. There's nothing to hide. Everyone should be able to mingle openly together.
Absolutely. And there's
right.
That is excellent. That's a really excellent point. And you're right. When you're actually building and you're doing stuff, like you and I are in business now, you're humble. When good things happen, you're humble, you're grateful, you're appreciative. You're not boasting and, you know what I mean, telling lies and making up stories so they can come back and bite you, because we all know that comes back around. You're in business, it's going to come back around. So that's an excellent point. Do you find, I also, as you were talking, I was just thinking of another characteristic, and not necessarily, they're charmers. Don't you find that these men are humongous charmers, like the best charmers of all charmers? The man that we worked with, he was a charmer. He knew how to say certain things to you. He knew how to suss you up real quick to deliver the things that you were like, oh, thank you. He was able to really play on either insecurities or maybe vibes that he picked up, but like a charmer, to everyone around. Like, everyone was like, oh, he's such a great guy, because they put out that facade. Even both of my exes, charmers. So would you say that he was a charmer to you in the beginning, and also what you saw in business?
Yes. Like I said before, the I Love You at Hello was also business-wide, and I walked with other people that were working for him. And he was just really big on boosting someone up at Hello. Like, oh, you're the greatest person I ever met. You're the greatest mind I ever met. Just make a person hear things that people normally don't tell them. You know, this overwhelming bundle of compliments.
Right.
That's just like, will put you in awe. Like, oh my God, like, wow, this person is really great for noticing these great things about me.
Yeah,
you know?
Finally. Yeah.
And yeah, it makes you weak in a way to when someone speaks like that about you. It's a target to drop your wall down.
Yes.
It's a target to trust them because, okay, if they're saying all these great things about me, they must have my best interest,
right.
you know? So your trust wall drops down and you're just saying whatever he says is the truth because what he just said about me and all these great things that he appreciates and notices is everything else got to be true when really it's not. It's just an initial target of buttering you up, literally.
Right, using that
all the way around,
charming you and charming everyone around. Because I remember we'd be on business meetings and he charmed everyone. However, I'll tell you what the warning sign is that I didn't know until I went through these experiences. Once we left that charming environment where he had to charm and we were back doing work, he talked negatively about a lot of people. There was a lot of put downs, a lot of sharing information about other people's personal strifes that, you know, as a leader, you should never share. Like, that's none of your business to share anyways. But putting people down because the narcissist has this, I need to put everyone down to make myself feel great. So at one moment, they're a charmer. You're like, wow, this person's great. They're a leader. Look at them. They're confident. But then when you get behind closed doors or in a comfortable setting where they feel comfortable again, they start putting people down. And so if that juxtaposition is happening, you know you're dealing with a narcissist. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree. And I also witnessed that too. Like you said, I watched them butter everyone else up, and it was really like the worst thing. When it came to the best things he could say about them to their face, he could say absolutely worst things about them behind their face, behind their face. It was no middle thing.
Right.
It was just like, I'm gonna make them think I believe this, but really they're this, and this, and this, and I can't stand them. I'm just tolerating them kind of attitude.
Right.
And it's sickening. It's so sickening.
Sickening. It's awful. The biggest part is, how do you get out of the relationship with them? You know, this is a big piece because now you're sucked in. You've built a life with them. They know how to manipulate you. How do you get away from them?
That's not an easy one. But once it's done, you realize how easy it could have been a long time ago if you would have just done it. But definitely it starts off by being aware of what you're dealing with, because for a while I was in denial. I had people in my ear telling me things and I'm like, this isn't true. Like, this guy's great. You guys aren't seeing what I'm seeing. But no, they were outside looking in because they weren't being buttered up like I was. So they were able to see clearly. Yeah. And I was the one with the brain fog. So just being aware of what you're dealing with and knowing that, yes, you're in a controlling relationship. Yes, you're being verbally abused and you're dealing with a narcissist, and just knowing that that's the situation, you're able to change it. But there's no way you can change it and get out of it if you're not first accepting and aware of what you're dealing with. And that's with any problem in life. In order to fix it, you have to know what you're fixing. Yeah. So, as in your own situation, you can't fix this person. No. So I would say the best thing is to walk away and protect yourself, because it's very, very, very unhealthy. Also physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, it's completely unhealthy. It will impact you in so many ways. You will lose yourself. You will have loss in guidance. It will be to the point you can't even make your own decisions in your own life. You have to go verify with this person. You just lose yourself completely. And the only way to gain your life back is to get your life back and just step away. And like I said, me was 1.5 years, and most people that's just a little. And even if it's longer, like, people are like, oh, I invested so much time. People are so worried about losing time. You're going to lose more time if you don't end it sooner. Amen. So yeah, you might have money tied up. You might have like kids tied up, but you have to think about more time that you're going to waste. And you just got to take that big risk. And I'm telling you, I've lost a lot, financially, and and I have walked away with almost nothing, but I'm the happiest I can be right now because I have my life and my soul back. And that's more valuable than any type of money tied up or material things. And children, it affects them a lot. So, yeah. So you have to put that in consideration. And when you get your life back, your children will get their life back also. So, and that's more important than anything you can lose material wise.
Because we end up relying on these narcissists and we lose our financial independence. It's very important as women we never do that and put ourselves in those situations. So we've got the financial piece when we make a decision like this to get away from a narcissist or in any bad relationship. So those are excellent points. I appreciate that. So that's, I mean, basically, if you're in a really short relationship with a narcissist, you know, and this is, you know, you're like going, oh shit, wow, I've got some of these things happening. Really, like you said, get in contact with your inner self, you know, your church, God, universe, whatever it is, like dig deep, because you know, like you said, that voice, that intercom's going off, you know something's wrong. So if it's a short period of time, get out. Just get out. You haven't invested that time. Don't invest any more time. Like you said, longer term relationships, like what we've been through, there's a little planning that needs to take place. But like you said, get in contact with some friends real quick. Start getting those relationships going. Get your money situation and plot your time to get out. Like get out. Take your kids, take your dog, take your furniture, take whatever and get out. Who cares? Mine was 13 years. You don't think that was tough? Businesses, kids, you got to walk away because like you said, we stand here now looking at each other far happier, more empowered, wiser, having this conversation to help others because we got out and it wasn't easy. So I appreciate you so much. I know this is not easy. Yours is, you know, new and fresh, and that's why I can say I feel goosebumps because you're still feeling it. Mine has a little more time, so you know, time heals, but you know, you're strong, and I'm so appreciative of you. You are absolutely one of the most beautiful people I know. I loved you when all that shit was happening with him. I'm being serious. You were so kind and graceful and loving no matter what was happening. I know your life was shit at that time, but you were always so kind to me, and I want to thank you, and I'm so glad we got to connect now, and I hope that this helps other people. So thank you so much, Whitney.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Welcome.